Are you at all interested in what happens in this week's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief? If you are, and you want your interest to be piqued, make sure you stay tuned until after this week's sponsors, and we'll give you a brief rundown, or as we like to now call it, the podcast spoilers. Proceed with caution, if you will. The podcast in less than 1 minute. So, without further ado, this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by 3 different games. First off is TradeWarz, a game of kings. The game of kings is a 5X, you got it right, 5X, not a 4X, but a 5X empire building game in resource management, strategy, and military might, where you zealously need to rule. Do you want to find out what exactly 5X means? Well, you'll want to stay tuned. Not this episode, not next episode, but the following episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief. I sit down with the designers behind TradeWarz, a game of kings, to talk all about it. This game is on Kickstarter through Friday the 28th of September. I definitely challenge you to stay tuned and tune in 3 episodes time. Well, yeah, if you count today's. So 1, 2, and then the 3rd episode from now, or 2 from now, whatever you want to call it, to find out all about it. This one ends, like I said, Friday the 28th of September. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also being proudly powered by Stupid Users Beta. Beta is a unique, fast-paced, ever-changing, item-looting, army-building card game. Logan Chops recently did a quickie preview of it, and as soon as I can find the cards in our cluttered area, I will also be going ahead and playing this with the Leafs, and we'll bring you our review of it as well. But in the meantime, I'd go check out the Kickstarter, as it will be there for a little while. It ends Saturday the 6th of October, so definitely check out Stupid Users Beta on Kickstarter currently. Next, last but not least, another episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Project Management, a soul-crushing card game. You heard me right, Project Management, a soul-crushing card game. It's a cynically satirical card game of office politics, set in the worst office environment of all time, a government department. This game is on a Kickstarter near you through Tuesday, the 25th of September. So definitely swing by your Kickstarter near you. We'll leave all the links in the show notes, and check out Project Management, a soul-crushing card game with excellent art. Now, it's on to, what do we call it? Your podcast spoiler. Proceed with caution, as this will be 1 minute of the podcast, the most important minute of your lives.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
So how did you know when it was ready to go to Kickstarter or whatnot? I know it's not there yet, but how did you know it was ready?
I think it was when I sort of, the people who maybe kind of tested it in the very early stages, I still have a lot of fun with it, and sort of the people who I've shown it to, showed it recently to Katie Aidley, who does Katie's Game Corner. She was really excited about it, which is great, and sort of, because we've been talking for a long time, and she knows about the game but hadn't played it. So yeah, no, looking forward to doing a full playthrough with her. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's always better when you have a fun game to play as opposed to something that's not fun.
Yeah. Well, that helps. Yeah, certainly.
So you're not going to be bringing the games to our house?
So yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I mean, sort of like if one of the stretch goals is a personal helicopter for me. So if I can get that, then certainly I'll be going to your by helicopter coming to your house. As long as you can just draw a big H in toilet paper or something, like on the top of your buildings, then that's cool. I know where to land, so that's fine.
That's a stretch goal, or that's just one of the options to back it at?
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
In this week's Kickstarter Corner, we've got some great games to bring to you. You just heard a minute of your life that you won't get back. Hopefully it was a good one. I know for me it was. I enjoyed pulling that out of the podcast for you. So stay tuned to find out how exactly it fits in with the new game we're talking about. So hang on until after these Kickstarter games and see how enjoyable the rest of this podcast is. And if you like what you hear, make sure you go ahead and subscribe on iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It really does help. But anyways, let's jump into it. Survival of the Dummies Trivia Game Essential Pack. Can you rub your belly and pat your head and name all of the planets in the solar system? Do you like laughing with others while they try to complete other fun and bizarre tasks? Then definitely check out Survival of the Dummies, which is a party game for underachievers. In this trivia-based party game, teams take turns answering questions while being distracted by ridiculous and sometimes frustrating instructions. Back the full game on Kickstarter or try it before you back it by going to survivalofthedummies.com/subscribe. Next on this great venture, well, first off, that one goes through Monday the 10th of September, so definitely check out Survival of the Dummies Trivia Game Essential Pack. Next is Battle Bosses. Battle Bosses is a multiplayer miniature battle arena game for 2 to 6 players where each player controls an epic boss and their minions. This one, and especially the miniatures and the minions for the bosses, are awesome. Me and Barbarian Leaf were geeking out over them tremendously in one of our past episodes of Getting Geeky with Game Relief. There's only a short time to get in on the fun of this one, as the project ends on Friday the 14th of September, so definitely check out Battle Bosses from Kesco. Next, did you like Truth or Dare as a kid growing up? I know I did. If you might be like me, you might want to check out Jackwagon, a strategic party game for people in which players perform challenges to earn badonka dollars. The most money after 60 to 90 minutes wins. This one's going through Sunday the 16th of September. As you know, we're a family-friendly podcast. So, in order to play the family-friendly way, you want option number 1, which is PG-13. So play the green challenge deck only by removing the jacked up cards and excluding the Jackwagon deck. Our family-friendly version, acceptable for teens, ages 13 and older to adult. Next is No Escape. No Escape is a competitive maze building take that game for 2 to 8 players from Games. They're almost to their goal, and you still got 3 weeks or 21 days to get in on the fun of this action, as this project goes through Thursday the 27th of September. So definitely check out No Escape by Jonathan from Games. And we'll catch you on the flip side of this interview that's already in progress.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
As one of Snoozhaven's worst adventurers, you'll be squabbling over the right to be the party leader, avoiding to take that of bungling buffoons around you, and trying to get enough gold to leave behind your failure for fellowship. who had to manage both your hand and your expectations. You guys really are terrible.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, but this is a story of Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails that is either already on Kickstarter or coming to Kickstarter near you pretty soon here. And so, tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator and mastermind behind this great game, Jamie. Is that correct, Jamie? Is that how you fall in line with the game?
That's right. I'm the everything behind the game. I'm the artist, the designer, the writer, so this is my complete solo project, and I say solo as in the project, not the gameplay.
Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you staying up late and talking to me because it's early here and it's late there.
Yeah, glad we could connect or whatnot. So before we get into Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games and whatnot, Jamie?
Well, I was a big Warhammer player when I was a kid, and it kind of sort of evolved from there. Really, I think at that point in time, I really thought that that sort of in-depth board gaming was really wargaming, and that was it. And as time went on, and it really kind of like was a later renaissance when I started working. I studied art and worked at a video game company as an artist. That the guys there were kind of started, playing games at lunchtime like King of Tokyo and Dominion and stuff like that. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. I hadn't realised that this existed. So kind of I then sort of took back into kind of digging through the stuff that I had and improving my collection and kind of rediscovering all my old sort of D&D books and Warhammer stuff, and then kind of listening to various podcasts and sort of watching various sort of YouTube channels about kind of what board games to get, because I felt like at the time it was a whole new thing. This is still maybe about 10 years ago. And I've got to thank those guys for kind of sort of really kind of reintroducing me to it, because I think at the time I thought that the most detailed game was Risk. I'd played Talisman, which I thought was pretty cool, and that was another sort of Games Workshop kind of spin-off game. So I kind of thought the Games Workshop had the monopoly on it. So obviously as I discovered more, I kind of I found my probably still all-time kind of favorite game that gets to the table, which is Mage Knight, and kind of blew my mind how kind of in-depth board games could be. So having sort of grown up on the traditional Cluedo, or you guys call it Clue over there, and Monopoly and all that sort of stuff, and it was great to find out that kind of like, especially for me, he's a real fantasy geek, to find out there was such a wealth of thematic awesome games out there kind of to play. So that's how I kind of sort of found my way into it, and sort of from meeting those guys, then kind of actually, funnily enough, kind of in the video game industry, I don't know if it's just on the whole or kind of the indies that I worked in, but there was a real board game culture there. So it became a real thing, and kind of everyone be watching Shut Up, Sit Down or Dice Tower stuff or what have you kind of over time. So it's great to be fully involved in it, and so that's how I started playing the games.
That story sounds somewhat familiar. Have you been on any other podcasts or anything?
Yeah, I've been on a couple of other podcasts. I don't know if any of them have been put out just yet. I think some of them are probably coming out fairly soon, as Hero Master is kind of going to be released in the next kind of 3 and a bit weeks. So I think they'll start to kind of pop up. So yeah, my story might become familiar to you guys, but I'll try and add some more spice to it as I tell it each time.
The word on the street, like you said, is you have a game coming to Kickstarter. What can you tell us about Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails?
Well, as you might have gathered from the original blurb, it's a game where you guys don't play the bold and the brave heroes. It's a real kind of turning on its head of the game, where you guys play the worst heroes ever to grace the land of Snoozhaven, which is where you play. Essentially, there's a dragon that's flying overhead, and everyone's sort of talking about the dragon's hoard, and they're all trying to go out and get it and stuff. And as you try and join a worthy party, no one will take you. You're always the last picked. It kind of feels like school, and essentially you end up kind of having to band up with the same old awful party that you end up sort of with each time. So kind of the halflings asleep in the corner, the barbarian's completely oblivious to everything, the wizard just gets annoyed about everything that you do. So it's kind of reluctantly you head out on this adventure to find the dragon and get the hoard and try and prove yourself as actually a worthwhile adventurer. But you're not interested in doing that with anybody else. You just want to kind of get out of this terrible group that you're in and find your way into a good one. So it's a competitive game. it's kind of set within a cooperative theme in the fact that you're in a party, and the healer will be healing, and the wizard will be fireballing, and the barbarian will be raging, but you won't be doing it against each other necessarily, the attacks, but you will certainly be getting in each other's way, and that's the idea of the game. So the idea is to kind of be trying to take out the monsters and earn the respect by gaining gold, but at the same time you're going to be bashing into each other like absolute klutzes that you are, kind of tripping over. So if you imagine your kind of Thursday night D&D session when everything goes wrong, it's kind of like that over and over. For these guys, they just are terrible. They've never really kind of nailed being a hero. So yeah, you kind of play as these awful underdogs.
Awesome. So is that where the inspiration come from? A bad D&D game or something?
Yeah, pretty much. Like kind of, I think it's funny because when I demoed this a lot at conventions and pieces, that lots of people were sort of saying, it sounds like our group, kind of so frequently. So I think it's kind of quite a common thing. Certainly, some of the groups I played in, the most memorable, like enjoyable moments were when we pulled ourselves out of a bad situation by doing something absolutely stupid. And that was always a lot of fun. And I think kind of sort of like those, it's got that sort of, it's got a little bit of kind of that Monty Python Holy Grail type kind of humor to it, in that sort of like it kind of turns things on its head. So these guys aren't respected or kind of lauded as kind of these lofty heroes that kind of stroll from town to town. Everyone just sort of sighs when they turn up and think, oh God, what can we do to get rid of them? It's definitely. I mean, it's definitely got D&D inspiration. I mean, I've got so many fond memories of playing the game, and I think kind of sort of a lot of those come from the humour that it developed as a group. Kind of like depends obviously on the group that you play with, but it was a lot of fun, and kind of other inspirations are from all sorts, really, books and TV, and kind of sort of there's an author, a British author called Robert Rankin, who does some amazing books, novels about kind of these real underdog characters that kind of end up in the pub constantly, kind of trying to work out a game plan as to how to stop the rise of the Antichrist, and it's just just really some stupid storylines and stuff, which I always absolutely loved, and I think kind of that kind of has filtered down to it as well, having these guys who are kind of sort of like somehow are so inept they can't can barely get themselves up in the morning, but they're planning to go and take on a dragon.
Cool. That sounds like a pretty cool story. I'll have to check that book out as well as Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails. Sounds really awesome, like an awesome game as well. So per se, man, you were to sit down to play that, Jamie, what does gameplay like? Like, what will my turn look like?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So you will, at the very start of the game, if you've ever played something like Smash Up, and this is the sort of reference I'm using now, to sort of describe the initial part of the game, is that there's mini decks of different races and classes, and you randomly combine a race and a class together. So you might be the halfling barbarian, or you might be the elven priest, and with that you shuffle these cards together, so it creates your deck of cards that you're going to play through. You also get given some armor and some weapons as well based on your class, and that's your kind of starting kind of setup. You also have a couple of hero cards, which are kind of like your special abilities. So, for example, the barbarian can go berserk when he's injured, so he gets kind of more attack damage. But the elf, for example, because they feel that they are the greater race, they've been there longer than any other race, that they should always go first. So they can take the first player token when they lay another card, when they use their special ability. So it's all kind of thematic. Now, the most important thing about the game, apart from obviously the victory points, which is the gold that you have to earn, is the party leader token, the first player token. Because if you are party leader, now these guys are squabbling over it. They cannot stand listening to each other. They're completely insubordinate when other people are in charge. So they're constantly trying to usurp each other. Now that kind of takes the form of the party leader token, which I say is the first player token. And as you squabble for that, it means that if you are party leader, not only do you get to choose the monster that you guys are all going to fight, it means that you get to choose the location you're going to go to, which often benefits the party leader in some kind of way, because they're obviously, they're out for themselves. And also you get to roll your D20 dice first as well when it comes to resolving attacks. So that means you get the first shot on the monster. So it's so important to be party leader. The only trouble is that when you're laying down your attacks, the attacks are resolved in a way in the order in which they're laid down. So you want to be laying your best attacks down. You want to be laying your attacks down that maybe steal the party leader as well, because they have the ability to do that on some attacks and what have you. But if you lay your cards down, say your best one in the first slot, it's opened up a real tempting opportunity for another player to play one of their bungle cards. So in your deck, you've got two types of cards. You've got attack cards and bungle cards. Now, the attacks are played against the monsters. They are, what you'd expect from your heroes. So the rogue will be trying to backstab the monster. The wizard will be trying to cast a fireball. But the other side of the deck is the bungle cards. Now, it might be that the wizard is incredibly pompous, so he drives everyone crazy, and it puts people off their stroke. So it's the characters' kind of innate traits which drive each other crazy, which kind of hamper their attacks. For example, the halfling is always eating, so it just drives everyone insane. So because they're kind of sat in the corner not pulling their weight and eating a bit of cake, they might heal a little bit of health, but at the same time it's just driving everyone wild because they're not pulling their weight. Or it might be that the rogue is incredibly untrustworthy, so no one really likes him being there behind them and kind of dipping in and out of combat. So because of that, it means that not only does it reduce the strength of your attack because you're not really fully concentrating on what you're doing, but because you're not concentrating on what you're doing, it also raises your critical fail threshold as well. So not only would you, when you go to resolve your attack, fail on a 1, but you might fail on a 1 to 8 because the critical fail threshold has been increased. So you're trying to kind of get down in the sort of strategy of the game is trying to make sure that you get your best attack down in the right slot, so you have the best opportunity to attack the monster before anybody else gets it. But at the same time, ensuring that you aren't bungled or that you are the party leader. So there's a lot to think about. Now, there's also the problem that you've only got between sort of usually 6 and 7 cards in your hand at a time. And that has got to last you an entire location. So it might be that there might be 1 monster there, but there might be 4. So you've got to kind of work out between your hand which monsters you're going to go for, which cards you're going to use against each of them, because they've all got different strengths and weaknesses. And at the same time, also think about, whether anybody's going to bungle you or whether you can kind of maybe save the best monster till last if you're party leader and kind of get everyone to burn all of their cards, all of their good cards on the other monsters that they put out before them, and leaving you finally just to kind of take one swing at the nasty big monster at the end, which gives you the best prize. The only problem with that strategy is the fact that there's only a finite amount of gold and treasure in the dungeon, so you're going to be hoping that everybody misses the other monsters so you can kind of get out of the monsters. So there's a lot to think about, and it's kind of there's a lot of strategy there, and I think kind of there's a lot deeper tactics to the game than might first appear with the kind of like humorous art style and theme. So yeah, that's it. And we essentially on our turns, we would be bumping into each other, causing each other all sorts of problems, probably hitting each other with our own axes by accident. It tends to be mayhem. So yeah, and if all goes wrong and you're losing as you move location, there's a sort of a catch up mechanic called protest cards. So basically, you can just complain to your party. You're traveling from one location to another, just whinging to each other that you're not it's not fair. You haven't got enough gold, blah 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 blah, and you get a special bonus attack for that as well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very thematic and sort of it feels like there's mayhem, and when you're coming to resolve your attacks, you've got this like very very deep strategy bit kind of in the first round of the first stage of combat. But in the second stage, it's the kind of fast flying dice where you're kind of resolving your attack with D20s. So I wanted the D20s to be a real homage to D&D and D20 games like kind of RPGs.
Luckily, there's a catch-up mechanic because I suffer from analysis paralysis, and it sounds like there might be a lot of different options for me. So
yeah, there certainly is. I mean, sort of like there's at the end of the day, it's quite punchy. So yes, you will analyze your face off at times by kind of trying to work out which one to go for, which attack to use, what have you. But at the same time, because you'll end up playing so many attacks throughout the game, in the short period of an hour, which is the length of gameplay, I think kind of like you won't feel too hung up on it because sort of like your actions will sort of like you can certainly catch up and you can certainly kind of like bring things back, because also you guys are prone to dying in it happens regularly, but fortunately you can resurrect again, but you do lose gold. So someone who might be kind of like steaming ahead in gold might end up kind of picking the wrong monster and getting slapped, and And at that point, they end up kind of losing some gold, and all of a sudden you're back in the lead again.
Okay, so there you go. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you sound a little biased, seeing how it's your game and everything. Is there anybody else who reviewed it or whatnot that we might be able to see what they thought too?
Yeah, absolutely. There should be, I reckon, 7 or 8 maybe reviews now. So the Dice Tower will be doing a review for launch, which is great. A preview, should I say. Everything Board Games has done one, so their channel will have one on there too. Unfiltered Gamers it has done one.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did Michael do one? Okay, awesome. I like him.
Yeah, Michael's done one. Yeah, Cardboard Stacker's done one. Geek City USA's done one. Roll for Crit's done one. Had one from UK previewer as well called Polyhedron Collider the other day. Board Deck and Dice from the UK as well. Selwyn, who does Board's Eye View, has done one in the UK too. So yeah, US and UK, I sent out multiple copies and kind of have spread them around, and people have been kind enough to kind of send them on. So yeah, I think they should be getting on for maybe 10 reviews kind of for the campaign when it goes live. So that's cool. But they'll be kind of like dripping out over the next kind of like couple of weeks until launch. So yeah, by the time launch comes around, we should have everything kind of in place, and everyone should have an idea of what's going on. There's also going to be a how to play video from Cardboard Stacker as well, and in some of the reviews there's some quite sort of in-depth kind of like gameplay explanations, like Everything Board Games. Dane did a great job, sort of spent probably sort of a good 45 minutes kind of going through the sort of gameplay side of things and stuff as well, kind of in depth. So that's great, and playing a round of combat and stuff. So there'll be plenty of information there for anyone who's interested in seeing how it plays, and kind of and also we've got a group on Facebook which is super active, and I'm anyone who has questions always happy to answer in there. If you just go Facebook search Hero Master Game, you'll find me. So there's plenty of ways to find out about it, and yeah, even on the landing page as well on the website, there's a bit of information about how the game plays too. So
awesome, yeah. So that's cool. So we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they won't necessarily have to type anything in. So that's awesome.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Now during playtesting, was there ever anything you had to scrap because it just wouldn't work for the gameplay and whatnot?
I would love to give you full game test notes from the probably 2.5-3 years ago when we started doing it to now, because you would not recognize the game at all. It's really changed. I mean, the theme's always been there, and the idea that kind of you guys are trying to pip each other to the post, like with the monster trying to sort of like get that last hit. So there was all sorts of kind of sort of almost like a fast kind of like play of cards being kind of slapped down to kind of like build up kind of strength and stuff, and try and kind of almost in a blackjack type of kind of sort of kind of don't overshoot the monster's kind of sort of toughness or what have you, kind of like with your strength or blah blah blah, blah. And it was really messy. It didn't work, so it kind of kept going back and back and back. And then the one thing that really saved the day was because I think that what I was trying to achieve was that kind of you could lower someone's attack to make them critically fail more often, as well as kind of pump up your own attack as well. So he was trying to find that balance, and the thing that finally kind of sort of saved it wasn't a reduction of the number on the dice roll. It was actually kind of increasing the critical fail threshold. And once I kind of nailed that really changed the game in a really sort of positive way. And I think also on that as well, I think kind of we did a lot of testing at the start with 2 players because sort of just trying to kind of try out weird and wonderful kind of ideas meant that kind of sort of you could sort of so regularly you could only get a couple of players together to kind of try it out and stuff. And all of a sudden realised there was there became an issue with turn order and kind of people feeling left out. So at that point, then we sort of I kind of developed this party leader sort of thing, which completely fit the theme and worked out really well, and actually kind of fit into the cards and really developed. So there's those 2 things. I think the critical fail kind of threshold and the party leader kind of system of kind of usurping each other at every turn really kind of shaped the game in a way that the 2 things I'm really proud of most, I think. Which kind of really developed the strategy and sort of. But the things that we scrapped, Christ, I had like a Agricola kind of type of scoreboard at one point where you could kind of get extra points for critically hitting and sort of finesse attacks on monsters and stuff, and it became way too convoluted. As an artist, which is my my day job, I think kind of quite often you can just get carried away by trying to do everything in the world and get it down. And I think sometimes you kind of need to take a step back and maybe whittle things down, which is what we've done, what's been done, and it's been shown to people, and people have advised and what have you and stuff. So yeah, it's been there's been a lot of change.
So how did you know when it was ready to go to Kickstarter or whatnot? I know it's not there yet, but how did you know it was ready?
I think it was when I sort of, the people who maybe kind of tested it in the very early stages and saw it as it was, and who are game designers themselves, and then I kind of felt when I got the sort of party leader sort of strategy mechanic down, and the kind of like the tit for tat series of 3 attacks that you can do, and kind of like mess around with those, so getting the right attack in the right slots. I think that became kind of sort of like a real foundation. I think once I kind of felt that was strong enough, I showed it back to the original game designers that I'd shown it to, who successful guys, and who are doing very well with their own Kickstarters and what have you. And I think at that point they were like, oh, this is solid. This is a solid game, and I think kind of that was when I kind of felt confident and started to polish, and yeah. So it was all about kind of, I definitely had a deadline in mind for UKGE, which is the big UK Games Expo over here, and sort of wanted to show it off, and even since then I kind of sort of like I come back and I've tweaked numbers and stuff, but it's the only thing that has been kind of occurring now is minor number balancing rather than these sort of major mechanic changes, but yeah, and I think sort of like while I've got the time to do it, I'm still testing and still doing stuff to make sure that I'm 100% happy with all those numbers, rather than sort of saying, well, it's done now and it's out the door, so goodbye. It's for me it's this constant evolving thing, and I think because the game is so modular as well, if we do expansions, it will continue to evolve and it will kind of change, and sort of like you'll be able to add them together, but there'll be kind of additional stuff that maybe I did scrap or wanted to kind of include again, or what have you, like to make things more interesting. But the base game definitely feels solid, and it feels kind of like it's not too overwhelming to get stuck into. I still have a lot of fun with it, and sort of the people who I've shown it recently to Katie Aidley, who does Katie's Game Corner. She was really excited about it, which is great, and sort of because we've been talking for a long time, and she knows about the game but hadn't played it. So yeah, no, looking forward to doing a full playthrough with her. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's always better when you have a fun game to play as opposed to something that's not fun.
Yeah. Well, that helps. Yeah, certainly.
So that's awesome. Now, for say somebody likes what we've talked about and whatnot, what if they want to get the game? What's that going to put them back? How much will they have to pay to get it?
We're still working out the ins and outs at the moment. The Kickstarter is kind of ready to go pretty much. I am. As I say, still tweaking numbers and stuff, even in the sort of kind of manufacturing side. It looks like the core game is going to be $39 in or around there, because it's £29. So that would kind of translate to the current sort of exchange is about $39. So yeah, I think it's an affordable kind of game for me. It's my I've done 3 Kickstarters before, successful Kickstarters. But this is my first game Kickstarter. So for me, although I feel like I've probably got a little bit of a foundation for kind of trust with the Kickstarters that I've already delivered on, I wanted to make sure that kind of for a lower price that people who are backing the Kickstarter, they're not investing too much in someone who, they might not necessarily know. So, I want to give them that opportunity kind of, for the cheapest price I possibly can. So I've been working closely again with the kind of some of the designers that I'm friends with, and based on their kind of experiences and what have you, and trying to kind of really sort of jam the price down as much as possible, and kind of like, and develop sort of going forward some really exciting stretch goals that will give some even more serious value for money when they pop up. So
you said you ran some others that weren't games. How's it? I know you haven't started the Kickstarter yet, but from what you've been able to see so far, what's the difference between running per se a game Kickstarter and a non-game Kickstarter?
About 3 years. Yes, a lot more preparation. There's so many more moving parts. The ones that I did were greetings cards campaigns, because as I say, I'm an artist, so it was a good avenue for me to do some stuff and get my work out there in a format that people were interested in and were happy to invest in. One of the series of cards I did was actually a Hero Master series of greetings card, and that was kind of a real art test, a humour test for the game to see how it was received, and it was received very well. So that was really handy to do as a kind of a bit of a test run. But in terms, sort of that is I work with a local printer as well, because it was a very, very small print run. This one, I'm hoping that it will be a much, much bigger project. So there will be kind of all sorts of like freight and shipping and different customs to work out in sort of different locations and what have you. So, I hope that it will do well enough that I will invest in some, fulfillment for it, which is the plan for the game. So rather than with the previous Kickstarters hand delivering them myself. So although that was kind of a bit of donkey work, it wasn't too much thinking involved.
So you're not going to bring in the games to our house?
So yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, sort of like if one of the stretch goals is a personal helicopter for me. So if I can get there, then certainly I'll be going to your by helicopter coming to your house. As long as you can just draw a big H in toilet paper or something like on the top of your buildings, then that's cool. I know where to land, so that's fine.
That's a stretch goal, or that's just one of the options to back it at?
No, I'd love it. I'd love to be able to come and sort of meet every backer. That'd be amazing. But I think I'm trying to keep all stretch goals to kind of either kind of increase the quality of components or even the content. There's some great content upgrades. I don't want to say too much because there's a bit of a system in place for the stretch goals. So there's kind of some kind of easy ones to get to, which are kind of like sort of like cool fun new cards to play with and what have you. But then there's some also kind of like really chunky ones that kind of pop up as well. And I think people will be excited when they turn up. But unfortunately, a helicopter isn't one of the stretch goals. That was a joke. So. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh man, and now you got my hopes up and then crushed them all in the same podcast.
I know. Well, that's it. No, I just critically failed with the bungle, right?
We'll have to roll and see if we can get that helicopter back.
Yeah. If you roll a 20.
Fortunately, I got a bunch of games here, but it might take a little bit, and people don't want to hear me fumbling around to look for my D20.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, no, I'm looking forward to it a lot. It should be good.
So that's awesome. Now, I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, and I know you're still working out numbers, but per se, somebody backs this. They have until when to back it? Like, how long's the campaign running?
So I'd like to run the campaign for 3 weeks, so 21 days, which is slightly shorter than normal. But for me, I think kind of it's a case of trying to make sure that kind of it's a really punchy campaign, really exciting all the way through. And I know like traditionally a lot of campaigns will be about a month, 28 days. For me, I think it's important to keep the momentum going throughout the whole thing. So I don't want to kind of have that dip where people are kind of scrabbling around and unsure whether it's kind of sort of going well. I want it to kind of feel like it's exciting throughout. So we'll be working on stretch goals for those 21 days and hoping that people kind of will be on board with me, and we've got some kind of fun things to do throughout the campaign. So. And hopefully, kind of as time goes on, there will be more media coverage and stuff because we're sort of trying to organise different interviews and bits and pieces and kind of like chats and maybe some live playthroughs if possible. That's the length of the campaign. It will start on the 18th of September 2018. And run for 3 weeks.
Awesome. And if they back it and whatnot, I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but when would they anticipate getting their own copies of Hero Master, an epic game of Epic Fell, so they can start playing it and seeing if they're the worst hero or whatnot?
Well, the good news is that as again the artist, I'm kind of fully sort of master of my own destiny in that respect. So if we push through stretch goals, some of the artwork is really done for stretch goals. And ready to go, but some of it isn't. So particularly if we kind of hit some of the really, really big ones. I can obviously ensure that kind of it's me getting the artwork done, and as I say, the core game is completely done. For me, it's kind of like the only kind of issues that I can foresee are kind of going to be down to manufacture and shipping and all that sort of stuff. Ideally, I'd like to say that it within 6 months, but sort of during that time, the run from kind of like it's over the Christmas period and it's over kind of like the Chinese New Year period, which I know has been historically a problem. So I think I would probably kind of sort of like put a sort of 7 to 8 months kind of expectation date, because as I say, I'd rather kind of be honest about promising than not. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm fine waiting, for mine at least, I'm fine waiting 9.5 months so I can get that helicopter. The only thing I'm worried about is I'll run out of toilet paper trying to put that big H out there on my lawn.
Well, unfortunately, man, if you don't put the toilet paper out, then I'm going to just whiz straight past. So, it's
just like Santa Claus, huh?
It's just like Santa Claus. I mean, so do you guys do that? It's a UK thing, like with Santa Claus. You put the H down in the toilet paper, no?
Oh, no. And I use toilet paper for other things over here in the U.S.
That's the only reason. Christmas time is crazy. Like everyone just goes toilet paper crazy. They're putting it out, like kind of, that's sort of, it's our main decoration.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that. We use lights over here, and toilet paper for other things. But that's probably too much information.
I think we're still rationed over here. That's the problem. So. Oh
boy. Well, yeah, but like I said, if I can come up with enough toilet paper, I'm fine waiting. If not, I guess hopefully it'll be there 8 to 9 months or whatnot.
Yeah. That's the plan. And as I say, kind of sort of, I'd like to say 6 months, but I think they might be pushing it. I think kind of like to give myself an extra grace period for that sort of production kind of to go through. For me, I mean, like having backed lots of Kickstarters, I'm fully aware that I'm not sure that many of them are completed on time, and I know it irks people. I know it kind of it's now unfortunately become an expected thing that Kickstarter's late sort of thing. For me, it's with the very small Kickstarter projects I did before, but they always fulfilled way ahead of time. So I'd love to be able to continue on that tangent and sort of continue to kind of that level of customer service and kind of keeping people satisfied. That'd be great. But I am aware that kind of it's a completely different ball game. There's a lot more moving parts, so there is more that can go wrong. That'll always obviously be discussed in the risks section on Kickstarter, but. Yeah, no, I think just with a bit of luck and a lot of hard work, we should be on track.
Awesome. And you talked about there being a lot of games out there on Kickstarter. With how many games there are out there, why should they take a chance on Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails, especially with all the other great games out there on Kickstarter currently?
Well, there are some great games on Kickstarter, and you're absolutely right. And I think kind of it would be foolish to say that it's a game that everybody would choose above other games across the board, but it does offer such a different kind of take on the fantasy genre, on a genre that's kind of it's loved by many. It's very oversaturated, but it's such a different spin on it, and the humor and the art have been real kind of sort of easy selling points for me, which has been great as the artist as well. Sort of really flattering. But I think with the gameplay as well, it's really punchy. It's that kind of sort of like it's a really nice middle ground, sort of where it's got enough flesh on the bones to sort of satisfy some gamers. But I think that kind of like with the theme and the kind of sort of the artwork and stuff, I think that it entices people in who maybe kind of are looking for that next level up from playing maybe sort of simpler games and what have you. So. I certainly wouldn't say it's an entry level game. But I would sort of say kind of it has some sort of good middle ground. So people are going to be entertained and sort of from different kind of levels of gaming. So I think with that in mind, particularly if you've got a mixed group, I think that would be quite an attractive proposition for people to pick up, because I think that kind of sort of like quite often you can't decide in a game because so-and-so doesn't like heavy games and so-and-so doesn't like light games, and and it'll be a nice kind of middle ground for those people. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, so definitely, and we'll make sure we leave links in the show notes so they can at least check it out and see what it's all about. So that's awesome. It sounds like really fun and stuff. Being the epic heroes or whatnot, but not being the best epic failing heroes. So that's awesome. Now, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to listen to any of our podcasts. If you haven't, that's okay. But the next portion is called Adventure to an Application Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for cell phones, tablets, computers, or video games. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to board games or epic failures by epic heroes or anything like that. Just an app you use a lot of. Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment, Jamie?
Well, this may surprise some people who I am. So the app that I'm currently using most at the moment, being from the UK, may surprise. I love the NFL. I love American football, and I am just about to do my fantasy draft today with my friends. We've done it for the past 5 years now. So at the moment, my app of choice is Fantasy Pros mock draft app on my Android mobile phone. I basically do a mock draft pretty much at least once, maybe twice a day, while I'm walking the dog, or I'm kind of waiting in the morning with my coffee for an email or what have you. So yeah, that is currently my app of choice at the moment. I just had to take my phone into the shop and wipe it, so there's probably other apps on there. I did get quite obsessed because I'm XCOM obsessed in terms of the video game, and when that came on the Enemy Within came onto my iPad, I was pretty into that for quite a long time. But there's some great board game apps on there too now as well. So Twilight Struggle is one of the ones I just downloaded recently. Some awesome stuff on there.
So what was your football app called again?
It's the Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard, I think.
Okay, and so that's just helping you be able to draft your fantasy team?
Yeah, I just kind of an automated kind of mock draft system, so you can work out strategies and stuff too. So for me, like kind of anything that kind of could be relatable to games is huge, and sort of like of all the sports I could possibly like, I feel like the turn-based elements of NFL are kind of closest to board games probably, and sort of subliminally that kind of is exciting for me. The fact that kind of they play series and downs and what have you and stuff, whereas something like soccer is a free-flowing game and I've got less interest in it. So I feel like kind of with American football, because there's so much kind of back and forth between the coaches and the players and all that sort of stuff, there's that kind of, sort of real strategy that gets built into each play. So it's exciting for me, and then being able to kind of take that into kind of fantasy football and have like a kind of a bearing on how my team goes and kind of build a team. Like it's like playing kind of I don't know, some of the old games again. Like my old favorite, one of my favorite Games Workshop games was Necromunda, and you had like a team of people in that, and for me it's kind of a little bit of a similarity where you're kind of building up your team.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. If you own the rights to that app, what would be one thing you would do to fix it or make it better?
I own the rights to it. Oh wow, that's a good question. What would I do? I would probably have more. Well, there is more detailed stuff on the paid app, so there's more you can do with it. Maybe more kind of links to news stories and stuff about players. I'm a real nerd for research, so love all that stuff. I think it's a pretty good app. I'm not sure there's much I'd change.
Oh, okay, well, there you have it. That's awesome. So, yeah, we try to make a green podcast around here, so if anybody's ever listening, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, that Jamie likes the app just the way it is.
Yeah, there you go. It's pretty good.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Now, mine is coming over there to your side of the world in the UK or whatnot to stalk you personally. How would people go about keeping up with you or the games you have going on and whatnot?
Yeah, well, I also put a big H in toilet paper out for anybody who's interested in seeing me. So that's, if you ever see that in the UK.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, give and take. That's good.
Yeah, that's okay. You can find us if you go to thenobleartist.com. That's my website. If you also put a /Hero Master Game, then you'll go straight to the page about the game, and it's got a cool character generator on there where you can roll up a character with a silly storyline and different class and race and a sort of different sort of reason why they got thrown out of their last party. It's a random kind of character generator that a friend and I spent a lot of time working on and are really proud of. It's just kind of just something for fun, just to kind of engage people who go to the page. You can sign up for the mailing list there, which will give you a notification of when the game goes live. You also get a free bonus card for signing up early if you sign up to that. So make sure you get on there before the start of the Kickstarter. A little bit of information about how to play and what have you. There's also the Facebook group as well, which is, as I say, if you search Hero Master Game on Facebook, then you'll find the group there, and it's a really friendly group. Lots of people kind of commenting, chatting, feeding back, and what have you, and asking questions. So yeah, that's a real blast too. So yeah, and all my contact details, should you need them, on the website too. So you can always give me a shout through there if you had any issues, worries, questions, anything. So yeah, totally reachable, easy to get to.
And if you give us the links, I'll make sure I put those all in the show notes so they can go ahead and just click the link so they won't have to necessarily type it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Now, yeah, so that's awesome. So now you can save your toilet paper for Santa Claus.
Exactly, yeah. He's going to be a happy man. I'll be on his good list this year, so that's good.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we don't want to keep you, I guess, all day as it's a different time zone over there, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief to talk with us all about your new game that's launching the Kickstarter pretty soon, Hero Master, an epic game of epic fails.
Thank you for getting that right. It's a bit of a tongue twister. No, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been great talking to you. I really like the format of this. It's been fun talking about some other stuff too, like my very geeky passion for fantasy football, which I didn't expect to talk about this morning, but it's on my mind. Yeah, no, thanks very much for having me and talking about the game. I'm glad you sound excited about it, which is cool. It's always nice to hear. And I hope that, any listeners who are interested will either come back to the game, give me a shout, tell me what they think. Cool. Thanks very much.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And per se, they didn't get enough of listening to you. They probably had enough of listening to me, as at the time of this recording, we're almost through August and we already have 140 episodes out for the year. But per se, they didn't get enough of listening to you because you've only been on the one episode. Where else can they hear you? What other podcast will you be on coming up?
So I'm on one called the Offline Gamer Podcast, which I recorded the other day. I did a podcast with Coaching for Geeks, which is an amazing organization who try and inspire people who also enjoy sort of geeky pastimes to do what they want to do. So they will go ahead and try and kind of motivate people to start their own businesses or kind of just do great things. So I did a chat with them the other day. I've also got one hopefully with our Turn podcast. So thank you to Sarah Reed who set that up for me. That's really, really kind. I'll be talking to Kathy at some point in the next few weeks. And I have a few others coming up as well, which aren't confirmed yet, so I won't mention those until. But
will you be on with Richard, do you think, from We're Not Wizards?
I haven't spoken to Richard actually for a little while, so I hope to. I'll chase up a couple of emails again and see where we stand. But I'm very happy for any sort of interviews, chats, coverage about the game. So I will, endeavour to get in touch with as many people as possible and see how they respond to the game.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, we'll let you maybe take a nap or get on with your day, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm up now. I've got a 1-year-old son, so he gets me up pretty early in the morning anyway. So that's all good. And I've got to go and walk the dog before I go and spend the day drafting my American football team like a real geeky drafter.
Well, there you go. The time has come. Woe is me. It's our least favorite time, your least favorite time. Time for us to get on with our lives, you to get on with yours. In the meantime, I hope you'll go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into Geekfold. But until then, Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.